retail outlets, more of the retail outlets like that one, that people here use. Because I'd like some of the simpler products made here. Speaking of, not entirely sure what that place was. It's very nice up here, though. Yeah. These are, I don't know. Okay, try not to get hit by a car. The rest of my work schedule, that's what I was talking about. Last day of work is the 23rd. My visa runs out on the 14th of January. The 23rd of December, I have to be more specific. My visa runs out on the 14th of January. I have to stay in the country until the 10th of January, unfortunately. That sounds a little mean, like I'm saying, to the country. I'm not. I have to stay until the 10th because I get paid on the 10th. It's a little inconvenient for me, but what are you going to do? Hello! Oh. So where did I park my bike? Alright, it's over here. So, between the 23rd of December and 10th of January, I will be a tourist. I'm not entirely sure if I have an apartment in January at all. I might not. I might have to stay in hostels and hotels, which is fine, a little inconvenient for my wallet. If that's the case, I will definitely be traveling during that 10 days. That's probably what I'm going to do anyways. I have figured out that flying from China to Japan only costs about $100. Interesting. Only costs about $100, so on my way back from China, I'm actually going to be stopping off in Tokyo for a few days. And I'm doing this because the last time I was there, unfortunately, my camera crapped out on me. I didn't get any of the stuff I wanted to, and, and unfortunately, on top of that all, one of the things I really wanted to see while in Tokyo was not available for me to go see, which is the battleship Mikasa. Was under refurbishment, apparently from being hit by a typhoon, which makes sense, I guess. Well, I was there in 2013. It is now open, so I'm going to be going to Tokyo for at least a couple days, three at the least, 5 probably at the most, unless I don't know, lose my mind and decide to stay a week or something. I'll be staying at the beautiful Asai Plaza Capsule Hotel, which I've stayed at before and is wonderful. I really do actually suggest it The people there are really nice. They speak reasonably good English. The onsen, the hot spring in the basement slash roof is really nice. And it is very reasonably priced, about 30 US bucks a night, which is about as cheap as you're going to find in Tokyo. So that should be interesting. As for my trip in China, I don't know. If I'm feeling good, I'm planning definitely to hit Xi'an, Chongqing a little better, and Dawei. Dawei for the Shaolin Temple there. As both a pretty avid martial artist and humongous kung fu movie buff, I think it would be a crime to come all the way to China and not go to Shaolin. Even if I'm just going up there to be a rubbernecking tourist, I'll at least be a respectful rubbernecking tourist. Well, my bike seems a little slow today, but you know, what are you gonna do, I guess. I do plan on going back to the fortress here in Sichuan before I leave, because my footage of that place was not really great. I didn't feel like it was worth putting up, so I deleted it, because it's super reasonably priced to go there, and I can literally just go there on a bike in a day. Now, I could probably, actually, it's noon, I could go there right now if I wanted to, but I don't want to. See, this right here, this is what I want, what this guy is on. I actually sold my other bike, by the way. Yeah, that's just a bike there. They actually sell those just like that, only with an electric motor too. That's what I'd really like. In the US, I would cross the country on that thing. The back has enough room for supplies and whatnot. It would be pretty interesting. On a completely side note and nerd note, I would really like to fiddle around, and I might, once I get back to the US, to fiddle around with really simplistic bike motors, like the moped bike motors that go on those things, and like cheap and expensive solar charger kits. I'd really like to play around with those just to see the effectiveness. I don't think it would be very good, but it would be interesting to have one of those and try to like kind of develop an emergency charge kit. I realize it would take literally a day probably, if not longer, to charge the battery to a moped with like a solar charge kit, especially one that you could pack around. But on a moped, it would, probably wouldn't be that terrible of an idea. It would be interesting, to say the least. I love this part of the town, and the thing is that this is a really strange part of the town in that a lot of this is really quite new. Even though it looks older, it's purposeful in that. And this is probably the best built and engineered part of the whole damn city. And it's meant to look older, is the kind of the funny part. These roads are literally less than a month or two old right now that I'm on. And I watched them being built, and the road itself is really well made. I mean, like by US standards, it's really well made. By Chinese standards, it's stunning. The plumbing I watched them put in, I'm not as sold on. I do not think the piping they put in, I don't think it'll last long. that's a completely different discussion about hiring farmers to do plumbing, or build bridges for that matter. But that's for another discussion and another day. And it occurred to me that when I get back from China, and I'm doing, I guess, commentary or videos about being here, I am going to inevitably make videos that sound kind of negative. That is not meant to be a slight or anything on China. It's, everywhere you go, there are problems. Criticism is one of the more important parts of human culture. If you stop criticizing things, they stop getting better. My British compatriot Clive here always tells people he spends all of his time in China complaining about China, and then all of his time in Great Britain defending China. It's probably going to work out to be that. But as I do videos, I'm going to criticize China for some stuff. And I can criticize the U.S. for stuff. So please don't take it as me not liking it here. I actually like it quite a bit here. There's something in my bike knocking. Well, I actually bought this bike. No, that's very interesting. Older buildings here. Actually bought this bike when a month or two after I got here, so it's about 8 months old. Doge! Arf, 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 arf. He apparently did not take well to what I just told him. But it's probably 6 months. It's probably how long I've had this thing. It was about 1,000 renminbi. It's 1,200 renminbi actually, which is 180 bucks. It's a little moped e-bike thing, an electric bicycle, because you can pedal it if I put the pedals, the chain back on. I really like it. From the perspective of quality and durability, I probably overpaid. Because this thing is not holding up well. By the time I leave, because I'm using it more now than I have been, by the time I leave, I might be lucky to get 600 renminbi out of this thing. I'm probably going to end up selling it to a student or a teacher. So I'm probably going to ask for less. I literally will probably ask for 600 renminbi for this thing, which is a little less than 100 bucks, which I'm fine with. I actually stopped right now to just look over here at the river. They're using boats to skim the vegetation that you see out of the river. I don't actually know what the vegetation is. I actually think it's literally leaves and whatnot washed down river, but it's beautiful. I don't know how well the GoPro is catching it, but this city can be really stunningly pretty at times. On another note, see the buildings across the river being built. A lot of them have been in construction with no progress for months, for years in some case. People call them ghost buildings here. And they're just, tons of people are moving into Hirchuan and the surrounding area. So they need housing. The problem is that as you come in here, there's no way you can afford the housing that's being provided. So very slowly people are actually buying the housing, but it's at such a short, slow rate that the development is vastly outpacing. Come on, people, you're gonna get me fucking hit. There we go. So there's a bit, I'll bet, there's actually a pretty sizable housing bubble in China. Then I'm fairly positive when it pops, as it were, that the government will do a fairly reasonable job of reacting to it and propping it up. This is probably why China is really stockpiling trade surplus money. Because, you know, the Chinese government's actually pretty wise when it comes to seeing shit coming down the pipeline. So it's just it's an interesting socio-political, economic, foreign policy thing that China has this huge housing bubble everywhere, not just here. And how they'll react to that, I think they'll do pretty well. My big social issues that I think are going to cause trouble for China are not the housing market. I certainly don't think that'll be kind for them or good to them, but it's other things here. I actually like the building style here quite a lot. I'm not too fond of the quality, and even the Chinese people here kind of bitch and complain about that, and I don't blame them. Buildings, for some reason, they don't age terribly well. Ooh, this blue thing here we see, that is actually a funeral. They have these all the time in front of my my apartment, actually. Chinese funerals, at least here, because I know a lot of the students I have here are kind of weirded out by the funerals in Herchuan. They're really nice. I like them. You have a tent like that, you lay the dearly departed out, and you sit around and you sing, and you do karaoke, and you play mahjong, and it's a really nice